Hello everyone, welcome to PSIR 300 Plus channel. In this channel, I will continuously strive to get 350 marks around in PSIR optional. Those who have enrolled 300 plus marks for sure. This is our journey. This marks in option subject is a very good marks, and if you are going to get this, it means what? You are able to get 40, you are able to cover 40% of your cutoff marks in the mains examination. Okay, so whatever with regard to the mentorship, with regard to the mains test series and answer rating practice, all of these already have explained you in my previous video. Okay, let us now talk about a very important strategic partnership of India and Africa with regard to agriculture development and food security. Obviously, when we are talking about India and Africa, here we are the giver and Africa is a taker here. Means we are going to support Africa in various aspects of agriculture development over a period of time. That is what India is basically called as one of the most humble, one of the most humanitarian oriented nations, because whenever any country is in problem, we step in and we'll try to solve their issues with all our money, with all our expertise. That is what we stand for across the globe. Okay, right. So before going into the discussion, I would like to tell what is this all article is all about. Okay, in a whiteboard, let us discuss it. So dear student, the article has two parts. The first part deals with Africa and its agriculture development, how it is. Okay, here Africa faces challenges with regard to climate change, with regard to finances, with regard to private investment, with regard to food processing industries, etc. so and so forth. Okay, and for that purpose they have launched various programs in order to make sure that food security is provided to their particular citizens. So the first part of our lecture, which is of 3-4 minutes, deals with what? Africa agriculture sector. The second part of our lecture is completely associated with, okay, India's role in agriculture development of Africa. This is what we are going to study, and this is what is more important for the examination also. Here India will be giving them all the support that they require. If they want finances, we are giving finances. If they want private investment, we are encouraging private investments in Africa. If they want to fight climate change, then we are trying to assist them with the transfer of technology and whatnot. We are also empowering the women of Africa with regard to agriculture. So these are the two important areas in this particular article that we are going to discuss. And on this particular article, what could be probable questions can be framed, that is also given here. Let us look the questions that could be framed for the mains 2025 or the mains 2026. Okay, yes, you can see here the questions could be framed this way: why India and Africa partnership in agriculture and food security gained greater significance in recent years. So you have to write this article. Means here they are talking about agriculture and food security between India and Africa is gaining importance. Why? Then the second important question that could be framed on this article is, how do shared challenges like climate change and food insecurity shape the strategic importance of India-Africa cooperation? India is also suffering from climate change and Africa is also suffering from climate change. Both the nations are also suffering from food insecurity. In this context, both of them are coming together. How it is important? How have India's lines of credit, nothing but financial assistance to the Africa, has been used to build agriculture infrastructure in Africa? Okay, so that is also being answered in our article also. What is the significance of private sector investment in food processing industry? As I have already told you that Indian government is encouraging private enterprises to go and set up their food processing industries in Africa. Okay, that is also there. How has grassroots collaboration such as Seva, women to empowerment? So in India we are having a program, we are having an organization called as Seva, where the women help each other with regard to what agriculture sector and other areas. In the same way, this particular Seva program is also extended to African nations, where our Seva women is actually trying to strengthen the capacities of women of Africa by going there and making them learn the various agriculture practices. Okay, chalo, let us discuss the article in two parts. As I have told you, one part is regard to Africa, second part is with India's story. Important information of Africa will give you. Africa faces a paradox. Okay, means a dilemma. Its agriculture sector employs 65% of workforce, but its contribution to the GDP remains very low, just about 15%. India's agriculture's employment is 45% around, exactly not, but it should be here only. 45%, but India's agriculture growth is 15%. So we have improved a lot. But whatever you are seeing the Africa, it is more of distortion. 65% population depends on agriculture, but only 15% is the GDP outgrowth. Okay, this point you have to remember. After remembering this point, let us see the challenges of Africa here. Okay, Africa is facing challenges of what? Extreme weather events. Sometimes extreme droughts they are facing, erratic rainfall not properly coming, okay, regularly coming. Sometimes it is like above normal, below normal. Lot of deviations are there with regard to normal rainfall. So lot of droughts, lot of erratic rainfall, heat waves, storms have affected agriculture sector of Africa. Not only that, African agriculture sector also lack access to modern infrastructure, reliable market data, financial services, agriculture extension support. This two in culmination is not only affecting just agriculture but affecting the entire agriculture value chain from the food processor to the distributor to the consumers. So you understood the point here that Africa is facing the climatological problems, climatological issues. Apart from that, Africa is also facing some kind of capital deficient here, knowledge deficient here. Okay, financial extension services are not there. The third problem that Africa is facing is obviously every one of us is also facing climate change and how to adapt and mitigate the climate change with regard to what? Agriculture sector. So these are the three important problems that Africa is facing at this point of time. So in order to address this problem, African government has launched many programs. Okay, the first of all, you can see the flagship initiatives of agriculture development. First of all, what they have done is they, in case of any kind of food insecurity or food security is not there, they are doing food imports. Remember this point. This is the one way of what way forward they're doing. Whenever they are having agriculture less production, then they are doing the imports. Okay. And second problem they are facing is inflation with regard to agricultural prices. International Monetary Funds, International Monetary Fund, the organization has said that between 2020 and 2022, food prices in sub-Saharan Africa surged by nearly about 24%. So the first problem they are facing is the agriculture production is less. That's why they have to go for agriculture imports. The second problem that they are facing is inflated prices of agriculture. Clear? Yes. The third problem that they are facing is post-harvest losses that frequently exceeds 30%, and advancing climate smart agriculture practices are essential to revitalize this. So this point you remember that more than 30% of the post-harvest losses they are facing. Okay. And to address all of this, African Union, one of the conglomeration of all the African countries, recognizing the importance of agriculture, the African Union and the African Development Bank has prioritized agriculture development through flagship initiative. One of the African Union's high-fi agenda is Feed Africa. It aims to transform agriculture into business by adding value to the commodities. Means milk should become curd should become ghee, wheat should become cornflakes, etc. So and so forth. Potatoes should become what? All this lace chips. So here the African Union is basically African Union along with African Development Bank. They want a holistic development of agriculture with the program called as Hi-Fi Agenda, nothing but the Feed Africa. Here they are going to transform agriculture into business by adding more value to the commodities. The initiative has another important objective, that to lift 320 million out of hunger while unlocking Africa agriculture business potential. So here the second point, the first point here is Feed Africa. The second point here is 320 million people out of hunger. The third point here is promoting Africa agribusiness potential, means harnessing the agribusiness potential of Africa. Okay, and they are estimating that the agribusiness of Africa will be around 100 billion by the end of this year. So these are some of the important flagship initiatives taken by the African Union to cater to the sub-Saharan African nations. So we have seen till now the problems in African agriculture sector, and we have seen that what African Union and African Development Bank is doing. Now we'll talk about India's role. Okay, I will repeat it once again. India's role in African agriculture transformation. Remember this point here. India is doing a lot with regard to agriculture development, food processing, training, technology transfer, private investment. All of these functions, government of India is actually trying to collaborate with the African nations in order to make sure that they will also develop in agriculture sector. So the first step the government of India has taken is line of credit. So on government to government front, India has extended soft loans, nothing but concessional interest loans. So government of India will give loans but charge very less interest rate on it. Soft loans are given, training programs are being conducted in African nations, technological assistance is also being given to many African countries. The main aim of this particular programs are to improve agriculture farming practices in Africa, irrigation systems, soil quality and mechanization. So India has, for example, India has extended Angola, one of the African nation, has received around 23 million line of credit from India's Exim Bank to purchase tractors, nothing but for the mechanization purpose. So one example, if you have written, that is more than enough. The second important for training purpose, Zimbabwe has been benefited from support in establishing a rural technology park, food testing laboratory for the soil, vocational training center for the rural youth. So here for the food processing money is given. Here the rural development is being concentrated with the help of what? As I've already told you that government of India is also promoting private sector. Private sector plays a very important role in strengthening Africa-India agriculture cooperation. Several Indian companies has already invested in food processing infrastructure across Africa. For instance, Surface Wilmer, a joint venture between Zimbabwe's Industrial Development Corporation and India's Medex Global Private Limited, invested around 1.5 million to build an edible oil production facility near Zimbabwe's capital Harare, which has now become the largest cooking oil. So private sector also, India is promoting the collaborations with the Zimbabwe companies, and they are also getting the benefit with regard to professionalism, with regard to technological transfer, with regard to heavy capital investment that they require will also be contributed by the private investors from India. Then the next one here is Export Trading Group. That has also been one of the important program that seeks to build one of the largest integrated agriculture conglomerates operating in countries such as Tanzania, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Nigeria and South Africa. The fifth important point here is the African Development Bank has also approved around 1.4 billion to grant support to ETG's Women Entrepreneurship Employability Project, empowering 600 women-led businesses in what? Agriculture related business. Then with regard to the humanitarian assistance, India has sent agriculture export to Lesotho to support improvements in food agriculture and irrigation planning. That is also we are doing. Beyond that, you can see India has also given in assistance with regard to capacity building. During the drought in Zimbabwe, India sent food aid including rice donations of 50,000 tons in 2003 and 500 tons in 2015. So on humanitarian grounds also we are giving many of the food grains free to the African nations. That is what we are so humble and empathetic toward the world. Last but not the least that India is doing for the African nations, non-governmental organizations such as India's Self-Employed Women's Association, they have further deepened India-Africa engagement through grassroots knowledge exchange. So our Seva women to women, they are going to the African nations and they are trying to impart the knowledge that they have gained on the agriculture sector in order to make the African women resilient and self-reliant, okay, and to build a strong women community for the agriculture development. That is also we are doing. Now we have to see the conclusion. So in the conclusion, what you have tried is by combining India's agriculture expertise with Africa's vast natural and human resource, this partnership can become a cornerstone for feeding the future, reducing hunger and advancing economic prosperities in both the countries. Because it's not just they get benefited by investing in their countries, by sending our women there, they will also learn, our skills will also improve, our businesses, food processing industries will also improve. That's how it is a win-win situation for both the countries. I hope this is all clear to you. Make sure that whatever I have discussed, you take down in a A4 size paper and read it by heart, it then practices without saying. Okay, do join the mains test series for PSIR optional for the 2025 and long-term test series for the 2026. Make sure that you be a part of it. You will never regret it. You will be scoring 300 plus, close to 350. I will strive a lot that you should get it. I hope this is clear to you. Take care. Bye bye.